Sometimes the drama is between players. A video of Luka Dončić snubbing Redick's fist bump went viral, sparking reports he gave the Lakers an ultimatum. It's him or me. But the real story traces back to a pattern that has already wrecked one team. A courtside argument captivated the internet on February 28, 2026. The Lakers were dismantling the Warriors 129-101 in a packed house, but an incident occurred that was unrelated to the score, yet central to the Lakers' entire future. The game's result was already certain. There was no question who would win, but a third-quarter bench moment would dominate NBA news for weeks, posing questions the Lakers still haven't answered. Coach J.J. Redick took Luka Dončić out of the game. Redick offered a fist bump to his star, a standard coaching gesture, but Luka walked right by him. The exchange was caught on film. Fans posted it, and within 48 hours it hit over 2.7 million views. Redick didn't just let it go. He addressed Dončić immediately on the bench, with teammates and cameras watching, visible to everyone in the arena. The conversation was transcribed online, revealing a situation Laker fans did not expect. Redick demanded to know what Dončić's issue was. Dončić claimed nothing was wrong, but Redick's reply was hardly something you'd find in a coaching guide. The online NBA world was in an uproar. The situation gained traction because it wasn't the first time this had occurred with Luka Dončić. Far from it. What many casual fans might not grasp about Luka is that the intense media coverage he receives isn't by chance. It's not baseless criticism. It's the direct result of being one of the most gifted yet divisive athletes in the world. As one commentator noted on a Lakers-centric broadcast, Luka is held to a higher standard simply because of who he is. And that expectation isn't arbitrary. It's shaped by the unique past. Dončić brings with him a trail of clashes with coaches that started early in his NBA career and left broken teams behind. Dončić was the third pick in 2018, sent from Atlanta to Dallas in a draft night deal, and was immediately given control of the team under coach Rick Carlisle. Carlisle openly admired the young Slovenian, drawing comparisons to legends like Larry Bird. He gave Dončić complete offensive control from his first game in America. But away from the cameras, issues were quietly developing in a way no one on the outside could have guessed. The initial conflict centered on Dennis Smith, Jr. Dončić, and Smith had become close friends during their rookie year together. But Carlisle and the management saw Smith as disposable. During a team meeting that year, Carlisle claimed Smith was jealous of Dončić, an allegation many players present felt was unfounded and needlessly created friction. Dončić interpreted it as an effort to poison him against a friend, which sowed the initial seeds of mistrust between the rising star and his coach. Things got worse from there. Carlisle publicly criticized Salah Mejri, a former teammate from Real Madrid who had been a mentor to Dončić as he adapted to the NBA. Cutting veteran J.J. Barea in 2020 removed another source of stability from an already tense locker room. And by January 2021, the friction between Dončić and Carlisle erupted on the court when Dončić screamed at his coach, "Who's calling the shots? You or Bob?" He was referring to analytics advisor Haralabos Vulgaris, whose increased power was frustrating many on the team. Carlisle left after the 2021 season. While not officially fired, insiders said the eroded trust between the two made continuing impossible. A scheduled visit to Slovenia to mend things with Dončić was reportedly called off by the player himself. The statement was loud and clear without a word being said. Colin Cowherd summed up this persistent issue bluntly on his program while analyzing the Lakers' current situation. When you see Luka play night after night, it seems he sometimes becomes detached, almost checked out of the game. That very detachment, his ability to emotionally shut down from the game, and his teammates in the heat of the moment, lies at the heart of every single coaching conflict Dončić has ever had in his career. This is the exact pattern that makes that viral 2026 sideline moment so charged and deeply troubling for the Lakers. Because Luka Dončić has never gone public with an ultimatum about a coach. That's just not his method. However, coaches who butt heads with him seem to find their way out the door sooner or later. And that past is precisely why a 10-second clip of him blowing past J.J. Redick's fist bump rattled the NBA world and had millions asking a frightening question. Is it happening again? Think of the chaos Luka left in Dallas. Jason Kidd was brought in to fix the Rick Carlisle disaster, a Hall of Famer with Slovenian family connections. Kidd was hired in 2021 because the Mavs thought he could build a personal and cultural bridge with Dončić that Carlisle couldn't. And, for a time, it actually succeeded. The locker room atmosphere improved immensely, and communication between the star and the coaches was far better. In 2022, Dallas rode Dončic's talent to the Western Conference Finals, with Luka putting up 31.7 points per game. But beneath that success, the very same cracks were starting to show again. This time, the problem wasn't about authority or analytics guys. It centered on something deeply personal, Dončic's body and habits. Kids started publicly calling out his conditioning and his constant complaining to the refs. He told Dončić repeatedly to stop arguing with officials, stressing that the arguments were hurting the team's concentration and leaving him out of position on defense, while the weight issue grew too big to ignore. Dončic's ideal playing weight is around 245 pounds, but he often hovered between 250 and 255, with some reports even putting him in the 260s during the year. One team source was in disbelief, asking, "Who puts on weight during the season, playing 40 minutes a game?" The physical drop-off wasn't just a number. It was obvious in Dončić's performance in ways no one paying attention could possibly miss. As one commentator noted about the current Lakers version of Luka, some flaws are magnified, like lacking the burst to the basket he once had. It's wild. When you look at Luka's early career, that loss of explosiveness wasn't just clear, it was drastic and easy to measure. He used to have a dunk every few weeks, now he might get one all season. You understand? There's a tangible difference in that level of power. That physical decline directly fueled the coaching tension, since every time the Mavericks tried to manage Dončić's conditioning with new staff, Dončić simply resisted the changes. So the Mavericks began making moves that hit Dončić where it mattered most, his trusted inner circle. In 2023, Director of Player Health Casey Smith was dismissed. After the 2023-24 season, strength coach Jeremy Holsopple and therapist Casey Spangler were also gone. All three were tight with Dončić. His reaction was blunt, "They get rid of everybody I like." Dončić's solution was to take full control. He hired his own private team from Real Madrid, starting with strength coach Andrzej Maciek, physiotherapist Javier Barrio Calvo, and nutritionist Lucija Alondros, paying for all of them himself. This immediately created a rift and serious friction between his team and the Mavericks' own training staff, making a deeply strained situation, already near its breaking point, even more dysfunctional. And then the trade happened that stunned the entire basketball community. On the evening of February 1st, 2025, the Mavericks sent Luka Dončić to the Lakers in a 3-team trade involving the Jazz. Dallas got back Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. GM Nico Harrison said the move was because defense wins titles and Davis fit their plan to win now and in the years to come. Yet, numerous sources revealed a far more disturbing narrative beneath the official basketball explanation. A looming Supermax deal, 5 years for $346 million, cast a persistent shadow over the team. Dallas hesitated to offer such a massive contract to someone with serious conditioning concerns, his dedication on defense, and his overall endurance. Furthermore, the way the trade was handled just made the whole affair more acrimonious. Harrison finalized the trade without giving either Kidd or Dončić any prior notice. Upon learning the news, Dončić severed all communication with Harrison. His father, Sasha, publicly voiced his anger, telling the press, "You dealt him. Own your decision instead of finding excuses." The impact on the organization was both immediate and severe. Assistant coach Marko Milic quit on the spot, refusing to stay without the player he followed to Dallas. God Shamgod, a player development coach, left after the season ended, exposing what he called deep-seated organizational problems. Protests were organized demanding Harrison's termination. Reddit threads called the move the worst trade in the history of the NBA. And when Anthony Davis was injured again post-trade and Kyrie Irving tore his ACL, the Mavericks season crumbled completely, accelerating a total rebuild around Cooper Flagg, the 2025 #1 pick. For the Lakers, the trade was praised as a masterstroke, getting an A+ from CBS Sports. GM Rob Pelinka described Dončić as a rare global talent. The team went 19-12 right after the deal, and analyst John Hollinger of The Athletic called the move a complete no-brainer. But in all the excitement, it seemed everyone conveniently ignored a key fact. Every single problem that soured his relationship with the Mavericks, including the fitness worries, the constant complaints to officials, the tension with coaching, and his emotional swings, none of that was left in Texas. He brought all of that baggage with him to Los Angeles. Less than a year into the Luka Dončić era, troubling signs were already mounting. On March 8th, 2026, during a 110-97 Lakers win over the Knicks, Dončić made what the NBA termed an inappropriate and unprofessional gesture at a game official. 2 days later, he was fined $50,000 by the league. That penalty brought his total to 15 technical fouls, leaving him one technical shy of a one-game suspension. In the 2023-24 season with Dallas, Dončić had topped the league with 19 technicals. Colin Cowherd highlighted the number with brutal clarity on his show. Now a year in with Luka, he's accumulated more technical fouls than defensive stops. On the media front, analysts covering the team conceded that the criticism of Dončić had sometimes gone too far, yet they defended their duty to judge him by the same measure as every other superstar. Yeah. I mean, I feel I have stated this on my show before. I've raised this point on this program. I believe it's gone too far sometimes. I think he's become a bit of a scapegoat, especially on the national debate shows. But that analyst also made it clear that being critical of a star doesn't equate to being unfair. At the same time, I don't see him as being above criticism or scrutiny, and striking that balance between noting the media onslaught and still holding Dončić responsible for his on-court deficiencies is the exact position the Lakers organization finds itself in. Because while the talk around Luka has been toxic and wildly inflated, the root problems are not just inventions by pundits seeking attention. They're authentic, they are quantifiable, and they risk completely ruining a whole season before the playoffs can even get underway. Here's why the Lakers can't succeed with this version of Luka. So where does this leave the Los Angeles Lakers now? Before we examine the statistics that show how deeply flawed this team is, it's important to hear from JJ Redick about the sideline moment that triggered this whole affair. To be honest, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I doubt Luka did either. I mean, our relationship is great. I truly value it. He clarified that he wants his players to communicate openly with coaches and that arguments are a normal aspect of the game, and that for everyone involved, the moment felt totally normal. I'm not sure why it became so popular. He sounds entirely secure in his job, but the team's problems are much deeper. They are built around a star averaging 32, 8, and 9. Impressive stats. But they are a profoundly flawed contender. Colin Cowherd bluntly explained the main problem. 19 of their 22 losses are blowouts. 19 blowouts in 22 total losses. When things go wrong, this team just crumbles. And while it's not all Luka's fault, you follow your leader's example. The franchise player sets the entire emotional tone. When he complains, the opponent gets easy baskets. That negative energy infects the whole roster. Even on a bad night, LeBron hustled. For 15 years, Kobe and MJ had off nights shooting. They never had nights with bad effort or focus. That distinction is absolutely critical at this level. It is just the nature of the game. But the true greats never, ever stopped caring. And reporters covering him daily clearly see that gap. To be perfectly clear, Luka is not the emotional leader of that team. That assessment is absolutely crushing for the franchise. Nobody on earth questions his skill, but talent without leadership has a hard ceiling. You could say his ceiling is the NBA's highest, because that step-back three he has is unguardable. When he's at his best, he is truly unstoppable. The issue is what occurs on the nights when his step-back shot is not falling for him. He is simply far more prone to having bad games. His floor is much lower than other top players. He cannot attack the rim like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He doesn't operate in the paint the way Nikola Jokic does. Edwards, Giannis, Shai, and Jokic. Dončić is easily the worst defender in that group. The media is not the reason he hasn't won MVPs. Luka himself is the reason he has not won MVPs. That accountability is what separates contenders from pretenders. And the statistics confirm this in undeniable fashion. So here are some unbelievable stats for you. They are 18-2 against the league's bottom 10. That 18-2 record sounds fantastic until you see the rest. 16-20 against every other team. Their record is under 500 versus any decent opponent, and it gets bleaker when isolating games against the top 10 teams. In those games, they're being defeated by 13 points on average, which places them 28th in the league. Only the Wizards and the Nets have fared worse against strong opponents this season. The game plan to defeat the Lakers is now common knowledge among the league's best teams, and they each execute it with cold precision every time they match up with Los Angeles. First, nonstop full-court pressure forces turnovers since Los Angeles gives up 19 points from them per game, the 7th highest in the NBA. Second, employ deep drop coverage, forcing Luka and Austin Reeves off the perimeter and into difficult mid-range shots. Third, attack them relentlessly in transition, where they are ranked last against elite teams in key defensive metrics. The analyst explained precisely how this strategy plays out on the basketball court. Make them surrender. Press them full court, run constantly, and use that deep drop coverage. You will do more than just win. You will force them to give up and crush them by 20. Those 3 words should frighten any Lakers fan who still thinks this team can win a championship. Cowherd reinforced this by comparing them to the Miami Dolphins, a team that reached the playoffs with no chance of advancing. So, after reviewing all the evidence in this story, was an ultimatum actually given? Did Luka Dončić really confront the Lakers and demand, fire the coach, or I'm gone? ESPN's Dave McMenamin stated that Reich called the argument very normal. Dončić himself defended his coach in public, describing Reich as a special kind of coach. No reputable news source, whether ESPN, CBS Sports, or The Athletic, has corroborated any such demand. The videos with those clickbait headlines were actually refuting the very rumors their titles were pushing. So, no ultimatum was ever issued. The fire the coach or I quit line was never uttered by Dončić, according to any credible reporter. But what did exist, and what absolutely still exists, is a problem far more threatening to the Lakers' long-term success than a single quote could be. A foundational player with a recorded history of conflicts with coaches across 2 separate teams. A star player whose emotional swings negatively impact his team on both ends of the court every night. A generational talent whose personal greatness may in the end be the very thing blinding this organization from seeing and fixing its deep-rooted problems, which no amount of skill can fix. The Lakers are forecasted as the 4th seed in the West and will almost definitely reach the playoffs. But based on all the evidence from this season, from every blowout loss, to every defensive lapse in transition, to every game against a good team, they are almost certain to be eliminated early in a series that is neither competitive nor close. Well, that wraps up this video, but stick around, we have more great content for you. Click any of the cards you see on your screen right away and don't touch that dial.